No, this is a short video that we're going to record for RevenueCat as requested for the application process. It's a very small little demonstration where we are trying to focus more on how the demo is being done for a technical concept that you would explain to a group. I've taken a simple example of my current product, which is BigID, which is a data governance and privacy product. And imagining that we're going to present this to the technical or the InfoSec team along with the data privacy officers and the governance officers. We'll try to keep it more simple, just focusing enough into the detail of explaining what a technical element looks like, not going too deep into it, which we could save it for the next conversation. So let's imagine this is your data estate. And in your data estate, you have different data sources. For example, Microsoft SQL database or Oracle or PostgreSQL or any structured data source. Likewise, some cloud structures, let's call it as an S3 bucket or blob storage, your choice. And some semi-structured data sources like Office 365 or Teams or anything on those elements. Now, what BigID would do is we'll simply install or promote a machine into a scanner. And this scanner can be a virtual machine or a physical machine, which means I can install this on a hypervisor, or I can install this onto any cloud structure, or I can also use any machines or physical machines from my data center. And what the scanner does, it'll start communicating with these data sources using the out-of-the-box connectors that are readily available. And because no agent is being installed here on the data sources, we're going to use the network to communicate with this data source, which means it's going through port 443, or you can call it as HTTPS. Apologies for the pen, it does not want to function properly. And once we start communicating with these data sources, we'll be able to channel back the information, what we have scanned, what we found within those data sources, and that's applicable to all the data sources, structured, semi-structured, and unstructured. Likewise, when we communicate with these data sources, we also need to ensure that there is enough security into the gameplay. And for that, we're going to use AES 256. And in transit, it's going to be TLS 1.3, right? Likewise, when we are communicating, we also need to ensure that the data source is being connected, it's being onloaded or onboarded, and we are able to channel through the information. If for any reason we don't have an out-of-the-box connector, then there are two directions to us. One, we can go the API route, which means we can use or communicate with the APIs directly supported by this data source. The second route is going to be going through the SDK. Two different routes in terms of how we communicate with the data sources. And based on whether you've chosen the SDK or the API, there'll be respective user authentication protocols that will come into play. Based on the user authentication that we provide and authentication method that we're going to use, you can choose one of these two to start communicating with that data source. And once we scan the data source successfully, then we start populating all the catalog results. I hope this gives you a smaller little insight into how things communicate in the backend. We'll save our next conversation to go much more deeper into the technical terms, understanding what exactly is happening in the backend, how the technical elements are talking to each other, how does it build the catalog, all those elements. For now, I say bye-bye and have a good day.